Welcome into today's broadcast right here at Cog Hill Farm. Now, Peaches wouldn't let Nugget into the house for this episode, so here's Jason, Brooke, and our chicken master, Marycarl.
What is up, everybody? It's another episode of the Cogcast podcast. This is episode number 46.
46. And if y'all will notice, Jason does not have glasses on.
I've lost 2 pair.
He has 2 pair, one of them being brand new. I actually called a place yesterday that we thought we may have, we may have left them. He may have left them. And they were supposed to call me back, and after they checked in, they're lost and found, and I haven't heard back. So that's kind of concerning.
Yeah, it is.
I'm going to call him back. I'm going to call him back in the morning. The other pair he had on yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, I did.
And I just told him they were on the kitchen counter. He said, nope, they weren't. And that's because he wore them after that. And
you know, Apple makes this new thing.
I'm fixing to order it as soon as we hang up.
Yeah.
As soon as we get done with this, I'm ordering it. It's a find your whatever.
Yeah, use a tracker or something Apple makes that you can put on something and
find it. Well, I can guarantee you one thing. As soon as this is done, I'm sitting down at the computer and I'm ordering you a tracker.
Oh,
if I could get one for your wallet, that would be good. If I could get one for your glasses, that would be good. I'm not saying that I'm perfect by all means, but Jason does have a little bit more of a tendency to misplace things.
Yeah, I do. I'm just really bad. My glasses and wallet are the worst.
Yes, and I usually know right where they are because when I see it, I recognize it, and I'm like, he's going to be looking for that later.
Mm-hmm.
But
terrible at it. Terrible.
So he has no glasses.
Yeah, no glasses right
He's
now.
not driving me anywhere. You better believe it. It wasn't going to happen anyway, so. What's going on?
Well, I guess the big news is that we did buy a camper or travel trailer.
We did.
I was told the difference between a camper and a travel trailer is that a camper goes on the back of your truck.
Uh-huh.
And a travel trailer is towed behind your truck.
Okay. I don't get that, but that's okay.
That's supposedly that's the correct termination, but here in the South,
they're all campers.
They're all campers.
Yeah. So we got us a camper.
We did get us a camper.
And I'm going to tell y'all, when we brought it home for 3 nights, I didn't see Jason.
Yeah,
he had so much that he needed to catch up on.
We were so behind on, y'all didn't see it, but we were so behind on videos, and because we had been so busy looking for campers.
Yeah, you had a lot recorded, but nothing put together.
A lot recorded, but nothing edited. Yeah, and then, of course, I don't know, I'm sure most of y'all have seen that watched our channel that I posted a video on Monday, and that kind of threw a lot of people off. And I'm tinkering around, like I said before, of trying to put out 3 videos a week. And that's why we got one on Monday. Then Wednesday, and I don't know if I'm going to get one on Friday or Saturday. I haven't figured out the schedule yet. And I'm going to tinker around with it to figure out which one I like. But
I honestly feel like, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like people like that Saturday morning video. Mm-hmm. If you could get it posted, at a certain time, 8 o'clock is what you shoot for, but sometimes that doesn't happen.
Right.
But if you could get it posted at 8 o'clock, people can watch it before they get going.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know if it would be better on Saturday or Friday.
Well, who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, Friday, I guess it would be there Saturday.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of could you get it done? Day off, edit, day off, edit, day off, edit.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know. The edits are getting faster.
That's good.
But just figuring out the schedule. I was thinking Monday, Wednesday, and either Friday or Saturday, or I don't know. Some people, I think Daniel and Al do Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. I think that's their schedule.
Well, regardless,
Tuesday,
we'll
Saturday.
try to figure something out. And
We'll try to figure it out. It's going to be every other day, and then you get 2 days
without.
So
maybe those 2 days can be a podcast.
Yeah. Well, no, I was thinking in between the every other day is when we're doing the podcast and just have the weekend off.
Gotcha, because that still leaves 2 days.
Yeah, so we'll figure it out.
Regardless, we'll figure it out. So anyway, we bought the camper, and we had to drive about 3.5 hours.
Yes, 3.5 hours. It was further north than what I thought.
And the camper could not be towed with our vehicle. We have a 1500 truck, which the capability of towing was not what this camper was rated at.
Yeah. Now the first camper,
We could have towed.
yeah, the one we almost bought the first time, because it was the next day, because we went and looked at one.
Mm-hmm.
It was an awesome camper, nothing wrong with it, completely. I mean, it was a great camper, great shape, nothing
Great
wrong with it at
people.
all. Great people, just it was nothing wrong with it at all.
I just wasn't feeling it 100%. That's the bottom line. Is we
Right.
both were just kind of like, is this what we want or is it not? And feeling that way and coming off with the amount of money that a camper was going to cost, I just felt hesitant about it.
Yeah, and then you made them an offer, and it wasn't no super low ball offer by all means.
No, but they couldn't take it, and I understand that.
Yes.
Some, people have in what they want to get out of something, and when you make somebody an offer and they don't accept it, I took that as a sign it wasn't meant to be.
Well, not only that, it wasn't like it was totally out of the question. We had been looking for a while. I
Right.
say a while, for a couple of weeks, and it was the same ones popping up over and over again.
Right.
Then on the way back that night, I started looking, and then this one popped up. He had just posted it, the one we looked at.
And here was the kicker. We had been looking on Facebook Marketplace.
Right.
Everything we found was on Facebook Marketplace because that's just easy for us.
Yeah, and you can kind of
Navigate
you feel
on
a little
your phone.
bit safer on Facebook
Right.
Marketplace because you can actually see the person. You can go to their Facebook page and kind of get an idea, if they're real or fake.
Yeah, some of them we had mutual friends with. It might have
Right.
only been one, but if they knew one person that we knew, then we felt like, hey, this person's
Right.
okay. And it wasn't like you were just stepping off into the unknown. But when you go to Craigslist, then it's just a phone number and it's just pictures. And
Yeah.
you don't know if it's a scam and
Right.
you don't know if it's, there's so many what ifs.
Right. So yeah, it's a little sketchier with Craigslist, especially when you're buying something
Of that
at the
amount.
value,
Yeah. So that's where we found it. We found it listed on Craigslist. And, of course, Jason always thinks everything's a scam. The price was a good price, a really good price.
It was a really good price. That's the other thing that we were like, oh, this is
Threw up a red flag, because
it wasn't much difference than the one we just looked at, and it wasn't much difference than the ones we've been pricing.
yeah. And so you can look at a camper RSV is that what it's called?
Yeah, you can go to
Like Kelly Blue Book for
NADA,
cars,
right.
but you can get the value of your RV or camper by putting in the model and the year.
Right.
So we did that, and we knew we'd be coming in on this one ahead.
Yeah, because it was priced really, really good. I mean, it really was.
And it was a 2020, which meant factory warranty.
Well,
and-
here's the thing. It's like one of those half models. So
oh yeah, that's right. We couldn't find it.
It is 2021.
2021, yeah.
But
And the title says
the
2021.
title says 2021. So it's kind of, and I know this from the automobile business, a car may come out in 2020 and it'll be a 2021 or it can even be a 2022. So it's one of those things. It's the 2020, it probably late mid 2020s is when it was originally built, and it's a 2021 per title.
Right. And
Yeah.
the people had only owned it since March.
Never camped in it.
Never camped in it.
Sat
Parked in their yard.
Yes, he worked shift work, and they thought it was a great idea at the time. Got it, and then realized that they're just never going to go camping in it. He just doesn't have time to go camping in it.
Yeah, and they had two small children.
Two small children, and one was 1 year old, and the other one was 4.
Yeah,
5.
and they said that the one time that they had planned to go camping after they got everything loaded up, and they were all excited, and they were fixing to go on a trip, and the gentleman was off work for the next couple of days, and the camper was loaded. They were
Yeah.
ready to go, and the children woke up with a fever. So you can't go camping with sick children, that's for sure.
No, you can't.
And so they scratched that, and they actually never ended up using it. They kept it plugged up in their yard.
It smelled like a brand new camper or a brand new car.
We felt no different than going to the lot and
Yeah.
looking than we did in these people's yard.
I mean, it's immaculate. I mean, this thing is brand new, and this thing is on the upper end of campers.
Yes.
Now, the one we originally looked at, we asked him, and he told us, he said, this is kind of the middle of the road camper.
Right.
This one is not. This one's on the higher end of campers. It's all fiberglass, frameless windows. I could go on. Huge outdoor kitchen.
2 air conditioning units.
2 air conditioning
The other one
units.
had that too, but this was, something we knew we had to have was 2 air conditioning
This
units.
one has 3 TVs in it.
Yep. It's awesome. I mean,
And the one in the den's huge.
Yes.
It's huge TV.
You feel like you're in your house.
It's got 3 zones with a stereo system. It's a dual stereo system, one for the back office, which we call it, because it's got like a built-in desk in it.
That was another selling feature.
Thing. This one's got 4 slides, and the one we looked at originally only had 2 slides. It's very, very big, and that was getting back to it. This one weighed over 9,000 pounds compared to the other one, which we could tow with our truck.
Right.
And I mean, it's so loaded. We're going to do a tour of it and show you guys in the next video of everything in this camper, and we just got super lucky.
We did. We feel like we felt like as soon as we saw it, we knew that was the one.
Yeah.
And the price was so close to where we were with the other one.
Yes.
That we were just floored at the difference.
And it was right in our price. This is what we wanted to spend on one.
This is what we wanted to spend, and the people were super nice.
Super nice people. And what's funny is that they
They
were
were scared
just as scared as us as we were scared of them. So
about selling, because they were not people that went out and bought and sold a lot of stuff, and they really
Right.
didn't know how to go about doing it. Because they bought the camper from a dealer, so they didn't know how it worked, as for selling. And so they got lucky, and we did too.
yeah, they got lucky. And you made sure up front before we left, you called their bank and got all the information that we needed to get and what we
Right.
needed to do to get the title and all
Right.
that. So all that was checked, and everything was clear before we drove 3.5 hours to some stranger's house to buy
That's right.
a camper.
So how unprepared we were was that we didn't have a truck that was going to be able to tow it,
Yes.
and we didn't know what we were going to do to get it home.
We started thinking of people that could tow it for us.
Yeah, the
that we
night
could
the
pay
night
'em.
before when we found it, we were like, okay, this looks perfect, but how are we going to get this thing
How are
home?
we going to get it home?
How are we going to get it home? First of all, it's 3.5 hours. Most people work. They can't just take off, even if they are your great buddy, they can't just take off of work
Right.
to tow your camper with their 2,500 or 3,500 truck 3.5 hours away.
Mm-hmm.
And so I even started looking at advertisements for people that are in the hauling business.
That's right.
And it was very pricey. They all had a minimum, and the minimum was like $250, and then it went per mile from that point. So I started thinking, I was like, I wonder if I could rent a U-Haul and pull it with the U-Haul. And Jason was like, I never seen anybody pull a camper with a U-Haul, and so my wheels are just turning. I'm just trying to figure it out.
Right.
I never seen anybody pull a camper with a U-Haul either, but
No, I haven't.
how much would they tow? So, true enough, it was only like 5,000 pounds, which was less than our truck.
Yeah, it was less than our truck, which
Yeah.
was odd, but that's what it was.
Well, I just thought since it was a big old truck, it could
I
tow
would
a
have
lot.
assumed it too.
So, scratch that idea. What are we going to do? What are
Right.
we going to do? So I started Googling ways to pull a camper without a truck.
Mm-hmm.
And Enterprise Truck Rental came up.
And I didn't know there was such thing. I mean, we used Enterprise all the time at the dealership, but it was never for truck rentals. It was just always cars. So I didn't know there was a separate entity in itself that rented strictly trucks.
So the first thing I did was looked at our local Enterprise to make sure that they didn't have a truck big enough to tow it with, and they did not. The only thing that they rent is 1,500 trucks, and I guess that would be just, for leisure or whatever. So I was like, oh, great. So they did have an Enterprise truck rental in Montgomery and also in Birmingham. And I told Jason about it, and he was like, okay, that might work. So the next morning, I decided I'd check into it. Well, I had already Googled and found out that they offered 2,500 trucks, 3,500 trucks, 1-ton trucks, whatever
Right,
you needed.
right.
And I could see what was available on their lot. And I found one in Montgomery. And I told Jason, I said, I think we'll just go to Montgomery and we'll rent the truck, and then we'll go to, where was it? Where was the camper? Decatur? No, it wasn't Decatur.
It was north of that.
Athens.
Mm-hmm. Athens.
Was it Athens?
Yes.
Athens. That's the Tennessee line.
Yeah, I think it was Athens.
So
Started with an A.
I think it was Athens. So I told Jason, I said, I think we'll just go to Montgomery. We'll rent the truck, and then we'll go, which would have made it, 4 hours from Montgomery.
4 hours.
And so he was like, okay. Well, the more he got to thinking about it, the more he said, maybe Birmingham would be better.
Yes.
Because that's on the way.
Yes.
I said, okay, I'll call him in the morning and we'll check on it. So I called him and made sure that we could leave our vehicle there, because that was another thing.
Yep.
Is we're going to have to leave a vehicle to get a vehicle.
That's right.
To drive. They said, sure, you can leave your vehicle. I said, okay, I want to go ahead and reserve the truck. What can a 2500 pull? And she told me a 2500 pulled 8,000 pounds and a 1 ton pulled 12,000 pounds. And is that right?
That's what she told you, yes.
And so
that didn't sound right to me.
So I told her, I said, okay, I need the 1 ton.
Mm-hmm.
And so after I hung up, I told Jason, I said, we're going to rent a 1 ton. And he was like, well, what'd she say that the 2500 would tow? I said, 8,000. He said, no, that's what a 1500 will tow.
Yeah.
And so I got to look, and I said, you think I ought to call her back? And he said, yeah, I do. So I called her back and I said, hey, can I swap that to a 2500?
Mm-hmm.
Because we didn't need more of a truck than.
No, we didn't.
We didn't want to have to, carry more truck than what we needed. So they were able to get that swapped, and I told them we would be there around lunchtime. And we got there around lunch, and all went well.
It did.
It was perfect.
They got us in and out quick.
They got us in and out quick, and we were able to leave our little car there, and I had to turn the truck back in 24 hours. That was the deal.
That was the deal, and you ended up getting a Dodge diesel.
Dodge diesel. Because our thoughts were...
They offered a gas burner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our thoughts were, what if we eventually want to take this camper camping?
Yeah, to see what a diesel drives like, a big truck like that.
That's right, because our truck's a 1500 and it's suitable for what we do around here, but it won't tow a camper. So,
right.
We can move the camper around the farm with our truck, but not tow it a distance or whatever. So we got the diesel and loved it.
We did. We actually liked it. It got way better gas mileage than our 1500 did, believe it or not.
However, when we went to fill it up with gas, it was $80.
It's like, he was like, what, $3.16 or $3.20 a gallon for diesel, and regular gas is $2.80.
Jason filled it up, and he got back in the truck, and I said, how much was it to fill it up? And he said,
$80.
80.
It's probably got a pretty bigger tank to it. Then it has the DF system in it, so you have to keep the diff fluid. The diesel, it stands for something. We call it DEF, and you have to keep it, filled up, or to go into limp mode, and so.
So we it was filled up with gas when we got it. We had to fill it up on the way home.
Right.
And it drove wonderful.
It did.
But our thoughts were, are we going to tow this camper? We're building a house. We're in the middle of building a house. We're in the middle of selling our farm. How much use would we get from towing this camper?
Yeah.
I mean, are we even going to need it? Do we need to trade our truck on a 2500 just to, possibly tow it one time?
Yeah, because we don't know. I mean, we love the camper, and we may take it camping, but it is big. It's 36 foot long, and that's not including the tongue. So I think once you add it, that's another foot, or I'd say at least a foot. It's probably 1.5 feet. So it's somewhere around 37 and a half foot long. And you had no issue pulling it whatsoever.
Well, I was going to say that on the way, I was concerned. Yeah. I was concerned, not that the truck wasn't big enough to tow it.
Right.
I'd never pulled anything. Neither one of us had ever pulled anything that long. We brought the Airstream home, and it was like 30 foot. But, it's real light. And
yes,
that's different. I don't feel like we had anything to compare this to.
Yeah, I agree. And we had to come out of a small area because where we had to go get it.
Yeah, we were in.
Had some turns. This thing makes wide right turns. I know you've seen an 18-wheeler sign say that, and it's true. You have to turn out wide or you're going to hit the curb.
Yeah, so we were in a city, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And, never having hauled something this big was not a very comfortable feeling in a city and a rental truck.
That's right.
So we got it hooked up and we got on the road with it. And after we got out of the city, all was smooth sailing.
Yeah, going down the interstate was like you didn't have nothing on there at all.
No.
But my biggest anxiety attack, what anxiety attack, but biggest, what really made me nervous is we were hungry and it was getting late because, we had to drive 3.5 hours there. Then we sat there and, just
went over everything.
I got on top of the roof and walked the roof. I mean,
and we had to go to his bank so we could get the title.
So it was getting late when we're coming back, and of course Marycarl's hungry. We're all hungry, so we're trying to figure out where can we go.
I don't even remember where we went, so you're gonna have to help me out on this one.
Oh, I will. And so we had to, go somewhere, and there was a Jack's on up the road about 20, 30 minutes up the road. And we said, well, that's where we're gonna go.
Talking about in Jemison?
Yeah.
Oh, well, it was more like 45 miles away.
Well, that was our plan. Well, we get about a third of the way after our plan, and my bladder decides, hey, man, we can't wait this long.
Jason told me, he said,
I thought I could, and I didn't say nothing.
He said, Brooke, I'm going to need to go to the bathroom soon.
I said, there's no way I can. I thought I could wait, and I said, I can't hold it. There's no way I'm going to wet on myself. There's no way I'm going to make it. So I'm
thinking to myself, you have got to be kidding me.
Yeah. So
we don't know where to exit, and we
don't
know which way to go after we exit, and we don't know where we can get in and out of without, causing a issue.
So we were getting close to Alabaster.
I still don't know what we ate.
And Alabaster has a huge shopping center. I mean, it's a huge shopping center.
I do know.
And we're like, we can turn around. This thing's huge. Parking lot, I mean, it's huge. It's got it's just huge. It's got all these stores and
movie
shopping
theaters.
centers. It's a big, big place. So this is going to be easy. So that's our plan. And you said they have a Moe's, and Marycarl likes to eat at Moe's.
Uh-huh.
Fine. We all like Moe's out of work. Turn in there, and we get in there, major construction.
Detouring traffic.
Through
the front of the Moe's, which is in the shopping center.
Instead of going, down where you turn into the wide part of the parking lot, you're going through the skinny parts.
Up next to the stores.
Yeah.
And here I am pulling this almost 40-foot camper.
And the only way out is to turn around and go back out the way we came in. So this was going to be, I was already nervous. I was like, this is going to be awful. We're going to hit something. We're going to tear something up.
And by this time, the sky's starting to get a little bit dark.
It is because it's rained here for almost 8 months straight.
Yeah, so we knew that some rain was coming. However, looking on the radar, it looked like it was going to miss us.
It did.
So we got this big camper pulled into the parking lot, and we parked it.
And I couldn't enjoy my Moe's because the whole time I'm thinking, I'm already configuring in my mind, because that's how I work, is how we're going to, what's the safest way for us to get out of this place?
Because we had to go out the same way we came in.
Yes.
Which was very tight.
Super tight. And I kept telling you, I was like, I don't know how we're going to do it. And I told you, I thought we needed to go all the way down where the movie theater was, which feels like a couple of miles down there. This place is huge shopping center. And I bet there's nobody there. We can turn around there and come back up.
Well, by this point, I wasn't really worried about it. We had gotten in there, and I felt like, heck, if I got in here, I can surely get out. So while Jason's over there spinning his wheels trying to figure out how he's going to get out, we get in the truck, and he says, I think you need to go all the way down to the movie theater and turn around. And I said, no. And I get back out and go right back out the way we came in, and all was well.
You did come out. Yeah, it was.
Were you glad I was driving?
I was glad that, because there's two other ways you can get out. Even the way even turning around and going back out, it wise, and there's a Lowe's and a Chick-fil-A and something else, and it's kind of like a little service road, and there's no red light there. And my thinking is, we go that way all the time because you bypass the red light. Mm-hmm. The red light's my safety is what I'm thinking with this camper. If the light's green, we can go. We don't have to worry about any other traffic. We don't have to worry about pulling out in front of a car. the red light is my safety net.
I don't see it that way.
And so you're like, no, I can go this way. And I was like, please, just go to the red light. And you did. And we went right on out, no problem.
But when we went past that little place, I said, look, Jason, I could have went right out there and avoided this red light and all would have been good.
You know, I think that the Chick-fil-A's there, and the Chick-fil-A's in a tiny, tiny parking lot. And so a lot of times the drive-through for that Chick-fil-A gets into that little service road. And I'm thinking we're going to block the Lowe's parking lot. People can't get in Lowe's because we got a 40-foot camper behind us. And that's just how it worked. And that's why I have anxiety.
But I felt very comfortable at this point. We were probably 2.5 hours into our drive.
Yep.
And I mean, I'm feeling like a 18-wheeler driver at this point.
Yeah.
I'm feeling like I got this. I can handle it. I can back it up. I can do whatever I need to do.
Yeah, you did well. You did very, very well. I was impressed and impressed with the truck too. I mean, everything went great. I would say this though, if we were to haul that thing, that camper has a camera system on it. And I think the camera's on the back, but you have to buy the little monitor that goes in the truck because there's a big old thing up there and it says camera ready, and it looks like there's a camera there.
I didn't know that.
If we ever were to tow it, we would definitely get the camera hookup.
What, it shows you behind you?
Shows you behind you.
Really?
Yeah. So when you're backing it up, or if you're hauling it, whatever, you can see what's going on.
You. Yep. I didn't know that.
Yep.
I didn't know there was such a thing.
Yep. And I think a lot of your newer campers have that.
Does the truck have to be equipped with that?
No, it's a screen that you mount in the truck.
Oh, okay.
That shows you what's going on behind you. Yep.
Well, that's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool.
So we get back on the road, and our bellies are full, and the sky is not looking like our friend.
No, not at all.
It's we can see lightning off in a distance. There was a couple of rainbows off in the distance where you could see where a storm had came through, and we avoided that.
We did.
But in front of us was all black clouds, and it's getting close to dark.
And the bottom fell out. I mean, it actually just
it was raining so hard that even if I had been in a vehicle I was comfortable with, not pulling a camper, I would have had to go extremely slow and just kind of hope for the best.
It came down so hard that nobody was passing you on the interstate.
No.
And we were driving 5 miles an hour with our flashers on.
And I'm up in the windshield, you know.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I couldn't see.
You couldn't see anything. We were creeping.
We were creeping with our hazards on, and everybody, you know, else had their hazard. Oh, you couldn't see anything.
You couldn't see anything. And I swear, going 5 miles an hour, nobody was passing you. Nobody. That's how hard it was raining.
It was pouring, and I did not feel comfortable at this point. I went from feeling all kind of comfortable to not being very comfortable at all. I just about exited at one point because it was raining so hard you couldn't see.
Yeah, and it was on the interstate, so you really couldn't pull over.
No, you couldn't pull over, and then you didn't know if where you exited, if you could even find a place to park.
That's the thing.
And how long is it going to rain? Look at the radar, and it is just red
everywhere,
all around us. So
that's right.
If we do pull over, what are we going to do? Get in the camper and sleep for the night because it's not disappearing.
And it was one of these storms, and this has been this past week or so. Almost 90% of our weather comes from the west, and usually goes from the south. It comes from southwest and goes northeast.
Yeah,
that's how our weather typically comes every time. Here recently, it's coming from all over the place. It may come straight down, it may come straight up, it may come from the east, and it does like this amoeba effect where it's just all of a sudden just pops up and forms, and there's no motion to it. So you can't even tell how long it's going to rain. You know, usually if it's just our typical weather front coming through, we're pretty good at guessing, well, it's going to be gone in 15, 20 minutes or an hour or whatever, because you can see the line of weather or storms come through. These storms lately have just been crazy. It looks just like an amoeba under a microscope. And we had no idea how long it was going to rain.
That's right. And so we're in a rental, and we had no umbrella, and we had no rain jacket.
That's right.
And we had no other vehicle at the 40 to get an umbrella out of or get a rain jacket out of.
Yep.
And so we're thinking, what are we going to do when we get there? I mean, we're not afraid of getting wet, but it's coming a storm so hard that you would be leery to get out in it because of the lightning.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And we got to unhook this thing. We can't take it to where we are now because it won't go down the driveway.
Oh, no, it wouldn't made it down our driveway here.
But I did ask Jason, I said, you think we ought to just take it on home to our house? And he said, no.
Yeah.
And after thinking back on it, I agree. That would have been a terrible idea, but I didn't know what else to do. I didn't know how we were going to unhook it.
Yeah.
I mean, what were we going to do?
Right.
So we get closer and closer and closer to our place, and you can see, it's just black all around, and all of a sudden, it stops.
It stops.
And it looked like it was fixing to come back at any minute on the radar. Mm-hmm. But we knew that if we work quick, we might get it off. And we've never taken anything like this off. So where are we going to park it?
Yeah.
We don't have time to get it backed in, turned around because, first of all, it's pitch black dark outside. Second of all, there's a storm coming. And third of all, our truck won't pull it. So what are we to do?
That's right.
So.
Well, not only that, too, there's a gate at our new property, and it's locked. And this thing's
I forgot about that.
Already 40 foot long, basically, and in the length of a diesel crew cab Dodge truck pulling it.
And we
if we were to turn, you probably got 10 foot off the road.
Probably 20, because I think that area is about a 20-foot
20-foot
inlet.
So we got 60 foot. You turn, so 40 foot still going to be in the road, and you're going to block traffic. So I said, just leaving the road, cut your hazards at home. I'm going to run my tail off and unlock the gate before this rain hits. And we're going to get this thing in here, and we're going to get it on halfway level ground and drop it off and come back early in the morning and reposition it. And that's what we did. And that's
Well, I had to get the truck back to Birmingham the next day by 12 o'clock.
That's right.
And here we are going back to our farm, which is 30 miles from where the camper is. Mm-hmm. And then we had to turn the truck in by 12 o'clock and get the camper moved.
That's right.
And move our little one in the meantime because it was sitting right where we needed to park.
Right where we want to put this one. That's right. And we did it. Well, our first plan was to take both trucks and use one truck to our regular truck to move the little camper. Mm-hmm. And then you thought maybe we ought to take the side-by-side and use it to move the little camper and load it in the back of the Dodge we rented.
Yes.
Then we wouldn't have two vehicles.
Right. Because we already had the trailer and the tractor over there.
Right.
So, putting the side-by-side on the trailer was out of the question.
Right.
So I told Jason, I said, I'll just load the side-by-side up in the back of this rental truck and bring it over there, and we can move the little camper with the side-by-side. Mm-hmm. So I don't remember where you were and why I did all that by myself.
Well, you didn't do the side-by-side. Remember, we ended up taking two trucks.
No, I loaded the side-by-side in the back of the truck.
No, that was another day.
I loaded it in that Dodge. Oh.
No, you didn't.
Okay, I loaded it in the other truck.
Yes.
Okay.
That was a couple of days later.
Okay. My mind is just everywhere. I can't even remember.
So I ended up taking our truck now.
Yes.
And then I used it.
Okay, that's right.
And that's how we got it.
You moved the little camper with our current truck.
I actually ended up moving it with the side-by-side. Well, I moved it with I moved it with the current truck and got out of the way.
And then I hooked the rental truck up to the camper.
That's right.
And we got it backed up, and I'm cutting it close to getting to the rental company before they charge me for another day.
Well, this was the other thing though, once we got it there, you're doing this was all in a matter of a day.
Yeah.
So our plan was to park it right where the little camper is, the Can-Ham, the 63 Yellowstone. Well, I got to looking, and I said, this new camper is twice, if not 3 times wider than this Can-Ham with the slides out. Mm-hmm. It's not going to fit. Mm-hmm. It is not going to fit. Looking at it with your eyes, you thought, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
And so then we got a measuring tape out, and we measured And we said, if we get it perfectly centered, it'll work.
And I'm thinking to myself, we don't have time for all this. I just need to get it unloaded. But I was going to take the rental truck back while Jason stayed in the new camper and got
And
everything set
yeah.
up. And then once he got it set up, he could edit a video or something
Right.
and, stay in there and until we got finished,
Yeah.
till we got back from Birmingham. So that took us a little bit.
It took us a little bit to get it backed up in that hole, just the right spot. For one, you can't see anything. And so if I get on the side, you can see on the left side, but if I get on the right side where you can't see, you can't hear me.
No, I couldn't. And it was aggravating, yelling back and forth, and then the other person not being over here and
If I'd have thought, and from now on, I think I'm going to do this,
walkie-talkies.
we've had several fans send us walkie-talkies.
Yep.
And I think from now on, we're going to keep walkie-talkies in the trucks.
Well, even yesterday we needed them.
We needed it yesterday.
So we finally get the thing backed up.
We do.
And we're getting all the stuff out of the rental truck so I can get on the road.
Mm-hmm.
And in the rental truck, we had the plug to the camper, the hookup.
Oh, yeah. I forgot all about this.
So I
This
tell
is the power plug.
I tell Jason before I go, I want to make sure everything hooks up and everything. And I'm gonna leave you here. So he goes to plug the power up.
And we eyeballed it because we remodeled the Yellowstone, the Can-Ham, remodeled that ourselves. And I put it on a 30 amp, which I didn't know because it's been, how long ago was that? 2-3 years?
4 years ago. It came up on my memories today.
Okay,
4 years
ago when I remodeled this thing. So I eyeballed the connector before we did all this, and it looked the same. But the guy, and then the breaker box that feeds the camper, because there's a camper plug already there. This guy already had it, and he had a big camper. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking he had a big camper. It's on the breaker's 60 amp.
The camper's 50 amp. So.
Camper's 50 amp. The breaker in there is 60 amp. It's a camper plug. I bought it. It looked the same. I just assumed it was the same one. Lo and behold, I go to plug it in, and it's not the same one. It's a 30 amp plug, and I got a 30 amp cable that goes to the Can-Ham. This is a 50 amp plug or cable, and 50 amp camper is not the same at all. It's totally different. It's got an extra leg. And I told you that, and I said, golly, well, they make adapters. And I kept thinking, well, that's what I need. I just get an adapter and dap down to it. And so I'm Googling, because you're going to go to Birmingham, and I thought, well, maybe you can pick one up at Camper World or one of these camper stores, and then this will be the answer. Be easy. This will be easy. Then I started thinking, and I'm glad I did. And I was like, well, there's a reason why this thing's 50 amp and not 30 amp, and I don't want to mess something up. So I called my dad, who y'all know is an electrician. I said, Dad, this is what's going on. I said, can I put an adapter and adapt this 50 amp plug to 30 amp? And he said, no.
No, son, no. Don't do that.
He said, you still got a 30 amp plug. You got 30 amp plugs, got 30 amp power to it. You do not want to switch that 50 to a 30 with an adapter because it's still a 30 amp plug. And I said, what do I need to do? I said, how hard does this thing change out? He says, not hard at all, but
by this time I'm gone.
Yeah, you're gone. You're long gone.
But he has a vehicle there.
Yeah, because I took the truck, and he told me, he said, you got to put a 50 amp plug in there. And I said, okay. And
he said, but everybody's out of them.
Everybody's out of them. He said, I had to special order one yesterday. He said, because the local hardware store where he gets his supplies from locally, they're out.
Everybody was out.
And I'm like, okay. So I started Googling. Well, Lowe's and Home Depot had them. And the way they had them it was the whole panel box and all. But it wasn't that bad. It was like $40. And I was like, well, I'm fixing to send this to you and tell you that they had them. Well, back and forth, I'm telling you to get this adapter. We probably spent 30 minutes looking for adapters.
Right.
And so I said, you know what? There's 2 hardware stores or building supply stores in Clanton.
Well, actually, I called an electrical supply store.
Uh-huh.
I don't even think I told you this.
Didn't.
And they had one, but it was only for 30 amp.
So yeah, 30 amp.
So that would have put us right back where we were. We didn't want to change a 30 amp for a 30 amp.
Yeah, the plug wouldn't plug into it. So I said, you know what? No matter of fact, you sent me a text and said there's a Russell Do-It Center and a Marvin's. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, I'm going.
And this is outside of his element, mind you.
This is outside my element. Most of y'all know I have social anxiety, so going somewhere by myself,
I take care of everything.
Is tough for me. And but I have been trying to get better, and I have been trying to put myself in those situations where I have to do it.
Here's the other thing. Arlo was with you.
Oh, that's right. Arlo was with me.
So Arlo went because we thought that it was just going to plug right up, and Arlo was going to hang out with you and help set up the camper and everything. So Arlo's with him, and he's got to go to 2 hardware stores and doesn't have a leash or anything.
Yeah, and I don't even know if these people even allowed pets in, and Arlo is my miniature schnauzer. So I said, I'm just going to leave him in the truck with the truck running. I mean, the worst thing he can do is lock me out. I mean, seriously. But on that GMC...
You could take the key fob with you.
No, I can't. It would cut off.
Oh.
On the GMC, the lock button's on the door panel on the side.
So he can't get to it.
On that Dodge, it's on the armrest. He could have stepped on it. I noticed that.
My Yorkies locked me out before.
Yeah. Usually if I leave Arlo in there by myself, and I've never left him in the car for a long period of time at all. I mean, usually like when I get out, unlock the gate or something like that, I always roll the window down halfway so he can't jump out. And I don't think he would jump out, but if he were to lock me out, I can just reach my arm in there and unlock it. Well, I didn't want to do that at the hardware store because I thought he may get a little too hot.
Yeah.
But I just left the truck running with the air conditioner blowing, and I did barely crack the window in case he were to lock me out, then I could get like a coat hanger or something and get it undone. So I did go. And lo and behold, they had the plug by itself.
They had the plug.
Then I thought, I don't have any tools.
I thought about tools, and I knew that we had nothing there.
Nothing there.
So what did you buy?
We did have some tools there, but I was not prepared to swap out a plug, so I didn't know exactly what I had. And I didn't want to go all the way back because it's not that far. It's
right.
10, 15 minutes, but I didn't want to go all the way back. See, I didn't have the right tools, so they had a nice screwdriver that had changeable bits in it. And I thought I had to have some wire cutters, so I bought a pair of wire cutters. And so I took it out, and I had already asked Dad, and he said, look, it's no problem changing this plug out. It's just easy. And I was like, okay. He said, call me and I'll change it out for you or I'll tell you what to do. I said, okay. Well, I got back there and so I just Googled it. And I figured that'd be, instead of bothering him, but it would just be quicker to Google and that way I can actually see it. And I did. And so I cut all the power off, swapped the plug out, cut everything back on, and boom, voila, we had power.
Had power and you had the right plug.
Had the right plug. Everything is hunky-dory.
And this is only about an hour later. So, I mean, I'm not even to Birmingham yet by the time he gets the plug going.
I did, and I was so happy to get it going. The cool thing about this camper is it has a self-leveling system.
Yes. You mash a button and it levels itself.
And, I've never done anything with a camper, let alone self-leveling. And literally, I opened the compartment up and I was reading the directions and it says press the self-leveling button. And there's a bunch of buttons on there and I was like, okay. So I did. Well, you had to let the tongue down a little bit. And so I pressed it and it let the tongue down and it did everything by itself. It was all automatic. I didn't do anything.
That's awesome.
And it let the tongue down. I was like, whoa, it's way too far low. It went way down. And then it jacked up one side.
You didn't tell me all this.
Oh, it was really, really cool, but it was also, I was like, man, this isn't right. But what it did, I never saw it level the back, but obviously it did.
Yeah.
But it leveled itself on one side. And leveled the camper, and then once it got level, it just let the other side down and touch the ground. I figured it would have let one side and then the other side, and it didn't do that. It leveled itself with 1 foot, basically, and then let everybody else down, let all the feet down.
Wouldn't you like to have seen us trying to level it with a level and actually jacking it down?
Gosh, I can't imagine now thinking about it after I did it that way.
Yeah, because I remember looking at the one that we looked at that we were considering the night before.
Yeah.
And it had jacks like built into it. So we would have had to hand crank it and looked at the level and hand crank it. And I remember seeing a little level in their bathroom.
Yeah.
Because when they unhooked it, they wanted it to be level. And it would have took a while.
It would have taken a while. Yeah, this feature was nice. I don't know how much extra self-leveling is on a camper, but
you glad it's there?
I'm glad it's there because, it made it so, it was literally, it seemed like 5 minutes, but I know it wasn't 5 minutes. It's probably a minute and a half, and it was level.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. So then, the young man went over everything with us on this camper,
everything
y'all.
He knew, and he really didn't know everything because they had never used it.
And I was thinking the whole time he was going over everything, I was like, how does he know this much about this darn camper? And he ain't even used it. He had to have gone over the user guide or something, or he's got a photographic memory. Because I was like, there's no way. I'm not that type of person. I'm a hands-on person. You can tell me something. Like, the whole time he's talking, it's like Charlie Brown's teacher to me. He's like, wah, 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 wah. It's going, I can't do it. I've got to manually do it.
I must tell you that Marycarl and I were sitting in the truck in the air conditioner during all of this because it was hot.
It was hot.
It was a hot day. And I guess that's what brought on all those storms, too. The humidity was through the roof. And the temperature, I think that they said it was like 107 was the heat index that day.
It was rough.
It hadn't been that hot since then.
It was rough. But it was, and I could tell you guys right now, it was so much stuff that I have figured out after and I know he told me. I know he told me, but
you just couldn't register what.
No, not at all. Not at all. But I did figure it out. Even like cutting the camper on, I went in there and it's got this electronic panel, and this one's all digital. Now the ones that we looked at the campers at the dealer, and the one we looked at the young couple that was selling their other one,
right?
Theirs was more of a manual one.
Huh.
You pressed, like, if you wanted to see what the black tank was, you press this button, it would show little dots. This one's totally different. This one's all digital. You don't press anything, and it's got all these buttons on it.
Huh.
So I go to it, and I wanted to do something, cut the lights on.
If I had to guess, it's probably the radio.
Let the slides out. That's what I wanted to do. Let the slides out. So I'm pressing the slide button. Nothing's happening. I'm like, oh, man, what in the world is going on? Then I remembered he told me you got to press the panel. It says panel, and it's got a red light on it. But when I pressed it, that red light got bright, and then the panel lit up.
Oh, okay.
So then I let the slides out. Well, here I may mind y'all, this hole that we got it in, we measured and assumed the slides would fit. There's pine trees on one side, and there's a bank on the other side.
Right.
So I'm nervous about letting the slides out. So you can't see the slide from inside the camper. So I let the slide out a little bit, and I get out, and I walk all the way around the camper, and I look, and I go back in, and I let, and I got to do 4 of them.
Oh, my gracious.
But once I realized I could get that one out, then I realized I could probably get the rest of them out, no problem. But
I thought I had the bad job of taking the truck back, but it sounds like I got the good end of that deal.
You did get the good end of the deal. So I got all the slides out, and there's just so much to take in. How to cut the air conditioning zone. There's 2 zones with it, and I even got it messed up. To start with, because I told you that I spent the night in it that night by myself, and I was like, the air conditioner ran all night. It was because I had the fan on. The air conditioner wasn't running. I had the fan on. I didn't have it on auto.
Oh, okay.
And it was just all kinds of stuff. And then I didn't tell you this. Well, zone is different. Zone 1 is the middle air conditioning. Zone 2 is the front air conditioning. You would think it'd be just the opposite. Well, that night, zone 2, which goes in the master bedroom, it was on auto. Well, zone 1 was on high. The fan blew all the time. I actually thought the front air conditioner froze up and was messed up until I figured out what was going on with it.
I'm glad you figured it all out before.
and then the refrigerator.
Oh, yeah.
The refrigerator really scared me because I had no idea that camper refrigerators took that long to get cranked up and going. They're totally different than a house refrigerator. I cut it on. Matter of fact, it took me forever to cut it on because I kept looking on the panel for a switch. Well, you open up and the switch was at the top. So I cut it on.
On the inside of the refrigerator?
On the inside of the refrigerator. On the freezer part.
Uh-huh.
So I cut it on, and it gives you the degrees up there, basically what it does. And 60 is as high as it goes on the...
Uh-huh. It's high or is it low?
It's high.
Oh, okay.
It could have been 100 degrees in there, but all it shows is 60.
Okay.
Well, it just sat there at 60
okay.
degrees.
I see what you're saying. See, I'm telling you what the temperature was.
Yeah, and I kept opening it up, and there was no cold air whatsoever. And I thought, God, because I remember him saying, "Do you want me to turn the refrigerator on to show you how it worked?" And we were like, "Well, the refrigerator works." Well, I'm glad because I'm wondering if he knew it took that long. Because if he'd have cut it on, then we would have said this thing's messed up. It needs a new refrigerator.
Huh.
So I'm glad he didn't cut it on now.
Yeah.
Because it took literally 4 hours, I think, before the refrigerator started cooling.
Well, I remember you sent me a message at some point and you said, refrigerator's finally getting cool.
Well, I got nervous. I read the owner's manual because the freezer started getting cool. I read the owner's manual and it says if you have it hasn't been used in a while, it may take a minute. And we'll say take a minute. It may take a while before the refrigerator gets cool. And I think, okay, well, that calmed my fears a little bit. So I come back and check again, and still nothing. And I'm like, something's not right. So I Googled freezers cooling, refrigerators not. And then, just of course, everything comes up, and that's perfectly normal. The freezer cools first. Then when it gets to temperature, the refrigerator's next on a camper refrigerator. And it could take up to 8 hours is what what it said on the internet for your refrigerator to get to operating temperature. Ours didn't take that long, but it did take a while.
Yeah. So in the meantime, I'm getting close to the time that I need to have the truck back.
Yeah, you were cutting it close.
I was cutting it close. And I get into Birmingham, and I get through what I think is the part where I would get into traffic if I was gonna. And lo and behold, I cleared that spot, easy, smooth sailing, and I get on up the interstate, and here I hit the traffic.
Oh, no.
And I said, I'm not going to make it. I just have to pay for another day because, there's nothing I can do about it. I can't control the traffic.
Right.
And so I ended up sitting in traffic for about 30 minutes and turned the truck in, and they didn't say one thing about the time.
Wow.
It all was well. We turned it in, swapped our keys, and off we went. So Marycarl and I were relieved to have that truck turned back in.
Yeah.
And back in our little Honda on our way back to the 40. Well, actually, we went and enjoyed us a nice lunch. That was our
reward.
That was our reward for getting the truck back on time, I guess. Marycarl's one of those that loves to go out and eat. And
she is.
We don't do it very often, so we try to do that when we have an opportunity, and made her day. So. And we came back by the 40 on our way home.
Y'all did come back by the 40. And I decided that...
Oh, I know what. We went and bought... I mentioned before that TJ Maxx is like my favorite store in the whole wide world. And Birmingham's covered up with TJ Maxx's. So we did. We went by TJ Maxx and got a bunch of stuff for the camper.
You did, because y'all were constantly texting me. Y'all wanted colors of the inside.
Well, I knew that we needed towels. We didn't want to rob our towels from the house to use for the camper.
Right.
And we needed bedding. We didn't have any bedding from the house that we could use at the camper. So we picked up a few things that we needed, and that was fun for her.
It was fun for her.
She got to pick out, what she thought her daddy would like and what she thought that, she would like. And so we made a fun day out of it.
And y'all did a really good job with everything, too.
Well, thank you very much.
Really did.
We came back by the camper, and she loves to put stuff where it belongs.
She does.
She
even had the toothbrushes put, and the camper's got a toothbrush holder, and she had all the toothbrushes.
She put everything where it belonged and organized everything, got all the bedding out, put it on the beds, did everything she could have done to make it livable. And she wanted to spend the night that night.
She did.
But we did not take care of things the day before to where we could leave it. I mean, we
Right.
can leave our animals for 24 hours if we're prepared the day before.
Right.
We need extra waters, we need extra feeders, and we weren't prepared for that. So I felt like we needed to go on home, and she and I did that, and the next morning we were up and at 'em back over to the 40.
Back over there, and
She was eager to.
She was eager. She is thoroughly enjoyed the camper and being out there. Way more so before the camper.
Yes, I was able to get the whole place bush hogged. You were able to get some limbs cut down
I
and
did.
pick up a lot of debris and things that needed to be done while she enjoyed being in the camper.
And I think it's just cause of the heat. You know, she handles the heat well, but you know, I think it has something to do with her condition somewhat.
I think so too, because she doesn't handle heat as well as a normal child would.
And so she can go do something outside, and now if she gets hot, she's comfortable coming back in.
Right.
Even though the canned ham has air conditioning in it,
You couldn't
it's
stretch
not much
out.
space.
You couldn't sit on the couch and
Yeah, this is just way better.
it is. And she said that she has no problem going over there now.
Yeah.
Whereas before, you know, if she
It's
got
50-50.
yeah, it was 50. I mean, not that she never told us I don't want to go.
Right.
It wasn't that. We just wanted her to have something to do, to feel like she was occupied and having fun, enjoying herself
Right.
while we were doing things that we had to take care of.
Yeah, because she doesn't need to be chainsawing, and she can't ride the tractor while you're bush hogging.
That's right. So there's just limited things for her to do.
Right.
And it's just worked out well so far. That
It has
she's,
worked out well.
She's enjoyed being in the camper and can do what she wants to while we do other things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think once the house build starts, it'll be the same way.
I think so too.
You know, she'll want to be involved in some of it. And of course, once the weather cools off, I think everything will change. She's outside from the time she wakes up till the time the sun goes down when the
Right.
temperatures are better.
She is.
But this heat, she just can't take it.
Right.
And I don't think she realizes that she can't take it as well as other children.
Yeah. Well, you know, she had struggles when she was at school with PE.
Yeah, I mean, there were years that I had to tell them that she had to sit in the classroom
Right.
because she got too hot.
Right.
And, you know, that they allowed her to do that, thankfully, because she just couldn't stand the heat.
Right.
So, anyway.
So the camper's all good. Thoroughly enjoying it.
Yeah, truck got back to the rental company.
It did, and
The glasses may or may not be in it.
that's where we think I may have left my glasses. I don't.
And I called him yesterday, and he said we have several pair of glasses. His name was Trey. I'm going to call him in a little bit. What did I say I was going to order? Soon as we got off of this, I said I'm going to go and that Apple thing to track.
Oh, for my track. That's right.
Yeah, I might want to write that down because my track is off track.
Oh, you need to do that.
I do. But I'm going to call Enterprise and see if your glasses may have been left in that truck. I didn't see them, but that doesn't mean that when they cleaned it out, maybe they found them in a console or something. I don't know.
The only place I can think that I had put them that you didn't see them, if I didn't hang them on the rearview mirror, which would have been obvious, is that on the sun visor.
Yeah.
Above the sun visor.
Well, I remember I lifted up that console because that sleeve that we had to have for the towing,
Right.
I made sure it was in the console, and I know they weren't in there.
Yeah, they wouldn't have been in there. I wouldn't have put them in there. The only place I would have put them would have been but it was night when we got home, and I just figured that I would have had my glasses on.
Who knows? Regardless, I'm ordering the thing, and when we do find them, we'll have something to stick that thing on, and we'll let y'all know how that works, too.
And we'll let you know how it works.
Wonder how long it's going to take to get it, because we need it like yesterday.
I don't know. We'll order it now, though.
We'll order it now and let y'all know
I think
how.
you get 2 of them. I think it comes with 2.
Well, we need 22, but not to say I don't lose things. I don't mean that. I do lose things, but Jason has a tendency to misplace things more so than I do.
It's pretty bad.
It is pretty bad.
It is.
Got to work on that. You're doing better with your anxiety and social separation, so maybe you can do better with working on where you put your things.
Maybe so. We'll catch y'all on the next
All
one.
right.
Hey, and be looking out for the camper tour that will be coming out either
Either Friday or Saturday.
Yeah. Either Friday or Saturday. That's right.
Yeah, and then in Facebook, it'll be Saturday or Sunday.
That's right.
So, all right. Y'all be good.
Y'all be good.